Now let's talk about Africa's growing consumer middle class and what this means for business. The number of middle class Africans has tripled over the last 30 years to 313 million people, or more than 34% of the continent's population, according to a new report from the African Development Bank. The reason for the increase in size and purchasing power of the African middle class include strong economic growth and a move towards a stable salaried job culture, thus an increase in space for a consumer market of people willing to splash. What potential does this hold? Well, consumer spending in Nigeria alone is expected to reach $2.5 trillion by 2025. Looking to venture into business targeting the African consumer, it might be worth noting the downside as well. While Africa's middle class may be growing, the point at which people can spend beyond mere survival is limited, bringing in the importance of access and affordability of products and services. So, how can companies take advantage of Africa's growing consumer class? The BBC's Maya Hayakawa had a chat with Mr. Pratik Suri, who's the CEO of Masa Group. She started by asking him how COVID-19 has affected spending by the middle class.
For many across the world, coronavirus pandemic was a financial struggle for everyone. However, pandemic has impacted and imparted some key lessons in the importance of financial planning. And yes, middle class was thriving till unfortunate pandemic. However, this is the group which was most affected because of salary cut, job losses, and low returns on income and investment made by SMEs. So as a result, the cash was tight and the people have made a big losses because of supply chain management also. There could not be any supply chain proper management during the pandemic. So middle class was the worst hit during the time of pandemic. And at the end, we all know that the pandemic reinforces. We already know that we can't keep people healthy also if we do not have a roof in their head or they don't have money to eat food. And that is the reality.
No, it's really interesting to see the trends as far as how African consumers are spending their money. So how have they been spending their money during this period?
If I see that the spending habit of Africa's middle class have seismic shift towards the necessary items. For example, if you see even in our product for television, the demand for smart TV have risen so steeply that because of the OTT platform, people in the pandemic were sitting in the home and they were not going out. So the demand increased of the smart TVs and the smart functions and the internet. And Africa, being the fastest growing market for the internet penetration for the smartphones and smart TVs also. So, I see the people are spending more and more money on buying electronic gadgets online due to pandemic. And, like I said about the OTT platforms also, the mindset have changed in the world in the last 1 year for going to the cinema hall or watching in their OTT platforms. However, the sales toward health and insurance and everything has grown at a very good level. And people are spending a lot on health insurances these days.
Affordability and accessibility have been the two major points that I've heard time and time again during this pandemic. What would it mean rather for Africa's economy if Africans had more products and services that were affordable and accessible?
If you check the data about the Africa market also, the smartphone market in Africa has grown nearly in the top two segments. It's considered to be top two countries, top two continents for the selling of the smartphones. So if the Africans have the access of the smart technologies, they will have more exposure on the information across the globes and they can watch their own favorite shows and series. And this will in fact help them boost the continent integral culture also. So you see if the smart features, smart TVs and the smartphones are reached properly in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities also, so people have more access to the information.